Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Overwatch discussion. Today the topic is PC versus console. I decided that it would be a nice change of pace from the usual things just to check it out and to see it from all points of view. The question, to be specific, is which is better, PC or console Overwatch? And before we get into this very hotly debated topic, I'd like to remind you to like this video if you enjoyed or agree with anything I have to say. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified of the next weekly Overwatch video. With that, we can start with some background knowledge. The first question to ask is, how can this random small YouTuber know anything about this? Very good, always question the sources. Well, I may not be massive, but for those of you who have been here for a while, you know that I started out my Overwatch content on console. Gasp! I know, it's a bit scary, isn't it? Now, not a lot of Overwatch YouTubers decide to make a jump like this. For instance, BroUac decides to play console even though he probably could afford his own PC right now, and I completely respect him for his choice. I myself only prefer to play on PC because I used to have to replace my controllers rather quickly since those stupid things barely last 3 months anymore, and I didn't always have access to my console, which was a big problem. So as you could have guessed, I have experience on both platforms. I was level 379 on console, and I am now level 88 or something on PC. I've only had the PC version for like just over 2 months. Is that normal? Am I playing this game too much? No, I'm sure it's fine, it's fine. Anyway, to find out which is the truly supreme Overwatch platform, we're gonna have to take a look at 3 categories. First of all is in-game differences, second of all is your controls and aiming methods, and finally what defines your skill on each platform. Let's start with the in-game differences. There was a lot of thought about how balancing should be done for the platforms. Each of them have a very different control scheme. In the end, it was decided that on console there should be changes from the base Overwatch game to accommodate for the differences. As we know, Torbjorn has different damage values for his turret on console. It is reduced by 30% from the regular, since it's harder to land accurate shots on console than on PC. I'll tell you what, that was probably one of the hardest things for me to get used to, because when I switched to PC, you really feel that damage difference, since I used to count the number of times I can get hit before I die, and that number just went down by 30%. So I just end up looking stupid and randomly dying when I shouldn't be. And there is also another change, which is Ana's friendly aim assist, which we don't have on PC for many reasons, one being that a mouse is easy mode for aiming compared to a controller. Seriously, it's just harder. Console Widowmakers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now here's something I really began to notice when switching over to PC. The game just seems to play out faster, and it's probably not just me, right? Like, when you switch between platforms, it just feels like the game is happening faster on PC, and I don't know, that was just a random thought that I wanted to share. I swear, I'm not crazy. So, for in-game analysis, there isn't much else to talk about other than Bastion still isn't a viable hero on either platform, so there's that, and Junkrat, no matter how you put it, is still the worst hero to play against. And as I've noticed a lot, your hit scan will still not kill that far without using their ultimate, no matter what you play on. Category 2, the controls and aiming techniques. Now, I don't want to hook up my controller to my PC just to get gameplay of using one, because I really never want you guys to see that atrocity of me trying to relearn the controls, and it'll probably just make you think that console's bad because I'd be bad. It's just a mess, really. I tried it, trust me, it does not look great. But I do have my trusty PS4 controller right next to me that I use mostly for emulators and stuff, so here that is, and one of the first things when you grab your controller that you notice is that when you pick it up, there's a sudden feeling of not getting carpal tunnel anymore. Feels great, doesn't it? Your wrists get a little bit of relaxation. And the Overwatch controls are configurable, so talking about the defaults is not even slightly important. What is, though, is the right joystick. It will sometimes betray you, and it needs some getting used to, but as someone who's been playing COD for several years now, it's a natural feeling at this point. First off, we have to talk about 2 very important aspects. 1, the anatomy of the joystick, and 2, how the in-game controls accommodate for harder control mechanisms. First, I will describe to you the joystick. There are 3 parts of that: dead zones, sensitivity, and control acceleration. Dead zones are those parts of the controller that do not pick up any signals. you can move the joystick slightly and still get no input. This is what a dead zone is. This is mainly to keep from messing up your aim all the time. The sensitivity is tied to the acceleration, where certain areas of the joystick will change how fast the reticle moves depending on its position from the dead zone. All of this can be configured in the game settings, but it gives you an idea of how the controller works. It's much smoother than PC and gives you more control, but it can't do what a mouse can, which is fast flicking and better precision. Not to say that controllers are inferior, because a mouse can't let you do things like spin rezzing as Mercy or really cool and dramatic twirling as Skin Around. Not to mention the lack of variation in character speeds on PC. You can't exactly run in one spot on PC like you can in console, can you? There are other minor aspects, like toggle couch is more useful on console than PC, but the biggest change is that of the aim assist option on console. For those of you who have never used it, here's kind of what it's like. You know that soft targeting feature for Zenyatta's orbs? Well, it's kind of similar to that. There is an invisible circle around the enemy that will draw your reticle in by just a little bit. Hardly noticeable, but really it makes a humongous difference in your gameplay. There's also another option called aim smoothing, which is kind of what I was talking about before with sensitivity and acceleration. Basically, without it, there is no acceleration. There is just whoop 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 whoop. It's basically you're playing on console, kind of like a mouse. Like, it looks like you're playing with a mouse, but you're not playing with a mouse, so it's just kind of all hell. Without it, you know, the game's basically unplayable on console for most of us at least. I'm sure there are definitely some console gods out there that play Widowmaker or McCree without it, and if that's you, I salute you, because Jesus Christ, that is some hard stuff to get used to and to be good at. Now that I've described the console side, let's talk about the PC side. As I know that a fair number of my viewers are console fans of the game, I want to let you guys know what it's like as well. Now, to best visualize it, turn your aim smoothing all the way down, have no aim assist, and turn your sensitivity pretty far down. That's kind of what it's like, but it feels like you have more control in a way. A lot of people talk about how console players play with huge sensitivity, and to be honest, guys, just pick up a controller like literally once, and you'll understand why pretty quickly. It's not a bad thing to have high sensitivity, just do what makes you comfortable, really. It's hardly possible to compare these devices. It's just like comparing an Xbox to a PS4. Like, yeah, they're both consoles, but it's mostly a matter of preference than performance, since they aren't cross-platform with each other. Here's one thing that I think we can all agree on, though. Using a mouse and keyboard on console gives you an advantage, while using a controller on PC will give you a disadvantage. I would like to be proven wrong here, but it just seems that that's how it is, to put it bluntly. Numero 3. This is where it gets into the most controversial part. What do we classify as skill, and is there a noticeable difference between console and PC? This is the holy grail of controversy, salt, and that ever-growing divide between console and PC players. Is there a difference between these platforms and the skills of their players? In very simple terms, yes, there is. But hold on, don't click off the video yet. I can explain the whole thing, alright? You ready? Here we go. We first have to describe what defines skill in Overwatch. It is generally comprised of two things: mechanical skill and situational awareness. Out of the two of these things, situational awareness is the more prominent one, the one that can get you further than aim or any weird clickbaity tricks you can find on YouTube. To define them, mechanical skill is what's involved in your aiming, your accuracy, your projectile predicting, and your tracking. It's about landing abilities, shots, and dealing damage more or less. Situational awareness is just about exactly what it sounds like. It's stuff like when to use your ultimate, when to back off from a fight, keeping track of your ability cooldowns, checking counters for heroes, target prioritization, team coordination and leadership skills, communication, and keeping track of the charges of enemy ultimates. If you can't tell already, the latter is extremely more important than the former. And here's where it ties into console versus PC. Now, you can be really good at aiming, but as you might have seen from some coaching videos on other channels, you've really got to put together your positioning and the other core functions of a good player. From my personal experience, having more difficulty aiming forced me to develop my awareness to razor-sharp levels, and I'm going to admit that my awareness has dropped considerably since I've switched to PC, and in my eyes, the console players definitely have a good position in this concept. Not to say that console players are better or smarter, but just that they have a different learning trend than that of PC players, which more often involve accuracy and landing shots. To put it into a good perspective, I had about 49% weapon accuracy on Pharah on console, but recently I have seen my accuracy hit up to 62% in some games. But at that sacrifice, I've still been making some dumber plays, and keep in mind I'm still adjusting to the PC Overwatch version. So the key points of console are more focused on situational awareness, while the key points of PC are more focused on mechanical skill. There are, of course, other factors that go into this topic. For instance, console is a Smurfacon, where everyone has at least 2 accounts, since you can make them for free after you've bought the game once, which I suppose is a massive advantage over PC players. But it's also a problem in of itself in the community. I'm not gonna pretend that I didn't have a Smurf account on console alongside my main one, but I'm probably not gonna end up getting a Smurf account on PC. Another factor is that the communication is easier on PC. There's kind of what people are describing as like a janky kind of wheel on console, where you hold the D-pad down on the D-pad and you've got the scroll wheel and all that. People kind of roast console players for it. I didn't really see a problem with it, since you can probably just send out communication thing in less than like 0.25 a second. You just like click it and flick and it's good. But anyways, people don't like that PC because you got your button binds and all that. And button binds are great, I'm not gonna lie. I really like my button binds. But on console, I did find that not a lot of people talk as much in the chat, which is a big rip. Consoles generally are a family thing. Family owns a console usually. You usually own your own PC, personal computer, all that stuff. Consoles are generally in like a living room or a family room and stuff. And if you got like some, 14-year-old playing Overwatch on console with his family in the background, he's not going to want to hear your voice, or, not gonna want you to hear his family's voice, that kind of thing. But on PC, I found that people are generally more toxic and throw more often than I've experienced on console. So there are these ups and downs of each platform. Each community is slightly different in of its, massive Overwatch community. There are a lot of differences in the community between PC and console, and there's not really a better one. They're both just toxic, let's be honest. These are some specific problems that have to be addressed by each community, so I'm not really going to count them into, the whole score thing. And I know I was going to answer the question which is better, PC or console Overwatch, but is it really my duty to decide which platform is better? I mean, I've played both, and I found myself getting just as tilted on either one. So let's just all take a deep breath and slowly delete that PC Master Race comment that you were about to post, because even though I do have one now, I will still roast you thoroughly and defend my fellow, used-to-be console players. I mean, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The people who watch, who still play console, I used to play console, I know what they're struggling with, and yeah. Stop. Just stop. Man, this is such a fun topic to discuss. I cannot wait to see the comment section on this one. But this is Carter signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.